Let's go ahead and dive into the first one here. So first one is from Jungle Scout, best and worst Amazon categories for sellers. And I find these always fun to look at to see where the best categories are or most popular and the least popular, because it can really help kind of determine or maybe help you determine where you want to sell. So Amazon sellers can maximize profits by choosing the right product categories to sell in. The report highlights the most profitable categories like electronics, home and kitchen, health and personal care, which attract high demand but may require significant investment in inventory and marketing. On the flip side, categories like books and music are considered less lucrative due to low margins and declining demand. Understanding these trends can help sellers strategically position their products to capture market opportunity and minimize risk. So let me make this full screen here so we can see it a little bit better. So if you're looking at the screen, some of the top categories, and this is by percentage of sellers, and then it's got the year-over-year growth next to there. So I think no surprise, home and kitchen is by far the largest category for sellers with 35%. Beauty and personal care coming in at 26%, clothing, shoes, jewelry, 20%, toys and game, 18%, health and household and baby care coming in at 17%, rounding out the top ones on there. And then the bottom 5 are going to be computers, industrial and scientific, CDs and vinyl, luggage and travel gear, and video games. And I'm going to jump to this next slide here because it's kind of got it all on one screen for us. I think it's actually that one's a little bit different. So I think not a lot of surprises there, Noah, except for me, luggage and travel gear is kind of a surprise that it's so low at only 4% of sellers selling in that category.
Yeah, this entire report was it's interesting to me, and I want to know. I'm gonna definitely dive further into it than I already even have. But even if you go back one page to the table of contents, or maybe it's 2 page, they actually list out. One more past that. Yeah, there you go. So they actually list out here the best Amazon categories and then the worst ones, and then where sellers and shoppers diverge. And you just brought up luggage, which is where sellers and shoppers diverge, which I think makes sense just because it's a big bulky item. People aren't wanting to pay as much there. But I'm really more interested in how they're classifying best versus worst. And if you notice, they're essentially is classifying it based on where the most amount of sellers are, right? But from a seller perspective, if I was a new seller, right, wanting to get into Amazon, I don't know if I'm going to necessarily say that those are the best, Amazon categories just because they have the, most amount of sellers overall, right? Because that almost would disincentivize me to want to join it because there's so much competition and so much to, be doing there. But yeah, home and kitchen, I think that's no surprise. That was literally the category my first brand was in, right? Years and years ago.
Everybody seems to think either home and kitchen or toys for some reason when I talk to people.
That was the one thing where it was surprising to me. Toys isn't, really, it's under the where sellers and shoppers diverge, because I would almost put toys and games at one of the worst categories, only because of the idea that they're, especially children's toys, there's so much compliance around it. And then games, it's very hit or miss as to whether or not you're going to do well there. It's so brand heavy dominated in this day and age. So this entire thing was interesting to say least, but I'm almost wondering, with home and kitchen being such a bigger category, if at some point in time Amazon might even just think about splitting those up into 2 different categories. Same with beauty and personal care, because realistically speaking, you go into either of those categories and you can find both anything from pillows to knives, but that's home and kitchen. And same thing for beauty and personal care. It's okay, well, a comb is theoretically, beauty or personal care, but at the same time, lotion is not both beauty and personal care all the time. So I
Yeah.
almost wonder if it would make sense for Amazon to like split the categories there, because it made sense back in the day when there weren't as many sellers, but nowadays there's just such a broad scope of it.
Yeah, it would be nice, to split it for our purposes. I don't think it matters so much to the consumer because
No.
nobody's really like going into the category. At least super majority of people, maybe like 1% of us geeks are going into a category and looking through categories. But for the most part, people are just searching, right? And now
Yeah.
it's AI becoming the search assistant to help you do your search. But it would be for stats and statistics reasons. It would be nice to split those categories up for sure.
Oh yeah, I wonder, for instance, right now, if getting ranked even like the top 10,000 in home and kitchen is a huge feat, just because home and kitchen has so many subcategories under it. I think home and kitchen has the most subcategories, and it's somewhere in like the 30 to 40 range. And it's
Okay.
like that's the thing. It's like, if you're in a sub category under home and kitchen,
Yeah.
there's next to no chance that you're ever going to be really listed on the first page or rank, 1 to 50. But being even like 10,000 is a big thing. It is interesting to me that it's still growing as well with that 6% year over year.